Alright, so in this video I will be talking about everything related to orders on Polymarket. So I will be talking about the order book, and I will be talking about the spread. I will be talking about what is a tick size. I will also be talking about stop losses, take profits. I'll be talking about what is a maker, what is a taker, and generally just digging deep into that. So I hope you will stick around. This is really important information. I've really been researching this for a while now, and now I'm going to do a brain dump on you so you get a better understanding of this, and this will actually enable you to perform better with your trading. But because it's important to understand what happens when you place a trade, how can you handle your trades, how can you monitor your trades, how can you limit risk exposure by implementing stop losses and take profits, because as you probably know, Polymarket does not support stop losses, so it's something we have to implement in our bot by ourselves, and I have an implementation of that I will show you how it works. It might not be perfect yet, but as we go along, I will improve it and make it very robust when Raven is ready to launch. So let's get started. To understand stop losses and take profit, we need to understand the order book. So I have this market here, the US government shut down Saturday, and we have the order book. Okay, so the order book represents basically everybody, all the traders that are placing trades. This is what you see here is resting orders on the order book. The ask side is people that are willing to sell, which is indicated by red, and the bid side is people willing to buy. So that's on the buying side. And then you have a spread, which is the difference between the asks and the bids. And this also ties in a little bit with what we talked about in a previous video about what is a maker and what is a taker. So I will be explaining that as well. Because if you remember, we have the maker rebates program. So you are actually able to earn money by becoming a maker. And if you are what we define as a taker, you actually pay money. You pay trading fees. And this is specifically for the 15-minute crypto markets, because these are going crazy. But we might actually have these fees coming on to other markets that are very liquid. So it's important to understand, well, what is a maker and what is a taker? So I'm gonna try my best to explain what that is. There's some confusion about what is a maker and what is a taker. Some people think that the makers is someone that sells and the takers is someone that buys, because that's kind of what your intuition would say, but that's actually not what it is. So a maker or taker is defined as who provides and who takes liquidity. To provide liquidity to a market, you would have to place what we call a resting order on the order book. So if you, let's say you place let's say you wanna sell, but you wanna sell as a maker, what you would have to do is you would have to place an order to sell your shares at 45, not crossing the bid, not crossing a spread. So you can actually place, you can see there's a spread now of 1 cent. So if you place a sell order, let's say 45.5, you did not cross the spread over to the bid side, meaning that it's actually a maker order. However, if you place an order of, let's say 44 to sell at 44, that would be a taker order. You are removing liquidity because you have resting orders that has provided liquidity, and it would actually be taken right away by the people that are buying. So the spread is the difference between the best asks and the best bids. So there's also something called a tick size. So the tick size is basically how much you can increment your prices with. Let's say you have a tick size of 0.1. That means you can place orders at 45.1, 45.2, and so on and so forth. So let's say the tick price is 0.1. Then you could place a maker order on the ask side at 45.9, and it will still be a maker order. And the same goes for the bid side. Let's say that you want to buy as a taker. That means you would have to take liquidity from the ask side. You would have to place a buy order at 45. So that means place an order at the best ask. Then you would be almost guaranteed that your order would be filled right away unless the market moves away from you, which actually happened for me a few times, and I'm going to show you exactly what happened there. So in that case, you would become a taker. If you want to be a maker as a buyer, you would have to place your buy orders within the spread, not crossing over to ask. You could do it at 44, you could do it at 45, 44.5, 44.6, and so on, depending on the tick size. The tick size we can get from the API, but I'm not going to show this in this video. So if we look at this, examples of a buyer: limit buy below best ask, it rests on the order book, and then it becomes a maker. If you do a limit buy at or above the best ask, it then fills and you become a taker. And if you do it on the sell examples, a limit sell above best bid, then it rests and you are maker. Limit sell at or below best bid, it fills, and then you are taker. I hope that makes sense. It all depends on if you are crossing the spread over to the other side. That's what defines if you're a maker or a taker. And this is kind of, this is very important when you are implementing your stop loss and take profit, which is very relevant when doing trading bots. So when implementing a stop loss, we also want to understand the different order types. So if we look at Polymarket's documentation, there's different order types. You have an order type called fill or kill order, which is a market order to buy in dollars or sell in shares. Shares that must be executed immediately in its entirety. Otherwise, the entire order will be cancelled. Now, we have to keep in mind here, Polymarket doesn't have market orders. So the definition here of a market order is what we also could call a taker order. So it's a order you place on the best bid or ask, depending on if you are a seller or buyer. So if you want to do a market order as a buyer, then you would have to look at the order book. You would have to say, okay, as a buyer, I need to cross the spread over to the ask side. What is the best ask? It's 46. So if you place a order to buy at 46, you could be almost guaranteed that they fill if there's enough liquidity. So in this case, let's say that I place an order to buy at 46, let's say 6,000 shares, the order would be cancelled if it's a fill or kill, because it has to be executed, first of all, immediately, and also in its entirety. Otherwise, the entire order will be cancelled. So if there's not enough liquidity, if there's not enough shares, it's going to be cancelled. But there's another one that we call, or that they call, fill and kill order, which is a similar order. It's a market order to buy in dollars or sell in shares that will be executed immediately for as many shares as are available. Any portion not filled at once is cancelled. So I actually haven't tried this one myself. I have tried the fill or kill, but the way I understand this one is that, let's say that you place a buy order at, let's say now it's 6,000. Let's say you place it at 7,000 at 46. Then you would get these 6,100, but then the remaining shares you will not get. And the same goes if you are selling. Let's say that you are selling, and there's 300, there's 500. Let's say there's 500 liquidity, and you sell 1,000. You're trying to sell 1,000 at 45. Then you would sell the 561, but the remaining 400 something you would not sell. So this is a very big distinction between these two, and it's important to understand if you're going to implement, stop losses. Because let's say that you place a stop loss. Let's say you place a limit order to sell right away because your position has moved against you, but it's actually not filled. What are you going to do? You have to have some kind of monitoring in place, and I'm also going to explain how I have implemented that into Raven. You also have good till cancelled. So a good till cancelled order is a limit order that is active until it's fulfilled or cancelled. So it kind of, it's pretty typical. You place an order. Let's say you place an order here at 45 or 44. It's just gonna stay there until it's filled and not do anything. And then we have the good till date. Order is a type of order that is active until its specified date, UTC seconds timestamp, unless it has been fulfilled or cancelled. There's a security threshold of 1 minute. If the order needs to expire in 90 seconds, the correct expiration value is now plus 1 minute plus 30 seconds. I don't really understand what they mean about this. So there's a security threshold of 1 minute. If the order needs to expire in 90 seconds, the correct expiration value is now plus 1 minute plus 30 seconds. If you know what they mean about this, leave a comment down below, because I don't really understand what they mean here, but that's okay. But I mean, it kind of makes sense, the good till date. So you want to place a limit order, you only want to have that, let's say, in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. After that, it's going to expire. So when you place an order, it goes through different order life cycle on Polymarket. You have different statuses, and this is taken from the documentation. But however, there's actually more statuses than this that I have experienced when doing trades. But I'm going to go through these. So we have the status that's called match. So you place an order on Polymarket. You know, it might be resting on the order book, so nothing really happens before something happens, sort of say. So when it's matched, it means that a trade has been matched and sent to the executor service by the operator. The executor service submits the trade as a transaction to the exchange contract. So you have to understand, Polymarket runs on blockchain. So first of all, you place an order through their API. It goes to their centralized servers on AWS. Now they're looking for, you know, traders, sellers or buyers on the order book. When they find someone matching your order, it's then matched, right? And then it's gonna be sent to be mined onto the blockchain. Okay, and this is when the next status happens. So the status is mined. So the trade is observed to be mined onto the chain. No finality threshold established. So it is going to be mined on the blockchain, okay? But before that actually happens, it's sort of not final. Something can still happen. It can still be cancelled. How that's going to happen, I'm not really sure, but it can. And then we have the confirmed status. This is where the order is terminal. So the trade has achieved strong probabilistic finality and was successful. So you know, on the blockchain, when you put a transaction on a blockchain, there's certain confirmations that need to happen on the blockchain before it's final, and this is kind of what they wait for. And when you have a certain amount of confirmations, well, then they know that it's confirmed, it has a strong probabilistic finality, and then it's done. Okay, so this is what you need to look for. There's also retrying and failed, and this kind of, you know, that makes sense. So if you place, let's say you make a system in your trading bot to place a stop loss, you have to monitor your positions to check if it's actually confirmed or not. And this is very important. It's something that I have been working on implementing into Raven. So the flow that I have been working on is when we do the placement, and this is actually a different status that they don't have in this overview here. So the placement is basically just you place an order on the order book, and that's it. It's waiting to get matched. So the placement, when that happens, I listen for the user events. When we get the placement, that's when we place the order into what I call the pending order tracker. Okay, and the pending order tracker then just monitors for these statuses over here that I just showed you. And then when we get them matched, that's when we take the order from the pending order tracker over to the position tracker. Now we actually have a live position that we need to monitor. And this is also where I implement the stop loss. So the position tracker tracks the position, but it also tracks the stop loss. Okay, and it tracks the order life cycle from match to update, mined, confirmed, and so on. And so when it's confirmed, you know, then we actually have an order live, and we need to monitor it, we need to track it, and that's when the stop loss is actually activated. So I will just quickly brief you on the position monitor. We have different methods. So for example, when we have the position monitor, we have a start monitoring method that basically just starts the monitor, right? And then we have a handle price change. So the position monitor is subscribing to certain events from the event bus. Okay, so that's the events we get from the user events. You can see how it takes a processed event. If you don't know what I'm talking about now, watch some of my previous videos, because I've explained this in previous videos and kind of explained the architecture of this trading bot. And then you can see how we have the check position P&L. And this, again, it just checks what is the P&L of the position. And we need this to take profit. We need this to stop the loss, stop loss, right? And then we basically just checks this, and we have then a generate exit action over here. So we just check if we have a stop loss, and if that is within the threshold that we are looking for, we generate the exit action. Okay, and that's then gonna be published to our executing layer. Currently, I have hard-coded the fill or kill order type, but I will be changing this in Raven, so you can choose how you want the bot to behave, you know, fine-grained things, experiment and stuff like that. But for now, what I've done is to use the fill or kill. And I will show you what happens in here. So you can see here, this is a real trade I did. So I've been doing real trades, you know, not actually to try to make money, but just to see how the stop loss works that I've implemented. So what I do is I did a maker order first. Doesn't really matter if it's a make or take in this case. So I buy 5 at 0.55, and then the position monitor monitors the position and looks for the P&L. If the P&L is less than the threshold, I think it was 10% in this case, it's going to execute a sell order. And I did the fill or kill, and what actually happened was it got killed, because you can see here from the time the order is placed on Polymarket, the market already moved against it. And this is the risk that we need to think about. So it was actually killed even though I placed the order on the best bid. So placing it on the best bid should have made it a market order. But since, you know, the market moved, you can see how rapidly it moved down in this case. I think at the time there was just no orders at that time, and then was simply just killed. And then my system the system then keeps monitoring if the order goes through or not. And in this case, it was killed, so it placed another one. So it did a fill or kill number 2 here at 0.4378, and then it was actually filled. but I think here it was like 10% already, and then when it was finally filled the second time, you know, it was like down 20% or something. So yeah, that was not the best trade, but you know, we live and we learn, and so I'm tweaking this as I go along. And of course, in Raven, which is, you know, the framework that I'm working on, we will be able to set the different metrics. Do you want to fill or kill, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you haven't seen already, you probably have. Maybe I'm building Raven, which is kind of still the project name, which is what I'm building here in public. It's not just a trading bot I built for myself, but it's actually a no-code strategy builder for prediction markets. It's something that I'm planning to release. And it's as I said, it's a no-code strategy builder. You can see how you can create these different nodes and construct your own strategy. So instead of spending, you know, too long time on trying to build a Python bot from the ground up, you will actually soon be able to use this framework to build and test your own strategies. Very easy, very efficient. And now you can join the waitlist. So I'm still building this. I'm building this in public on my YouTube channel. So you can click here, join the waitlist, and then down here you can provide your email. And if you do that, then you will actually be one of the first in line to get access, because I will not be releasing this like, you know, in a grand way. I'm just going to be doing it, you know, gradually. First take like, you know, maybe 10 people, then 20 people, then maybe 100 people, and so on and so forth. So if you're on the early access, you will be getting access earlier than everybody else. We also have PolyTraders, which is a free Discord community for prediction markets. We have different channels such as, bot development, we have strategy and data, we have predictions, crypto, byte coding, and we have a forum where people, they're posting insights. So it's a great way to meet other, traders, other builders, other programmers, and so on. And there's a lot of nice alpha and insights in here. So I really highly suggest you to join it. And it's free to join, of course. It's a free and open community for everybody that's interested in prediction markets, Polymarket, Calcio, and so on and so forth. So I've made sure to leave links down below here in the description. You can find the link to the waitlist, and you can find the link to Discord. So with that said, I think it's all for now. I hope it made sense. And if you have any questions, or if I said anything that was not correct, please, leave your comment down below, and let's have a discussion. So until next time, see you and have a good one. Bye-bye.